Let's finish off this paper. Question 22. Cumulative frequency. 100 teachers were recorded. Table shows the information. You start with the first number. So let's just mark that. You start with the first number. You keep adding the next number to it. So it's 12 add 30 gives you 42. 42 add 28 gives you 70. 70 add 22 gives you 92. 92 add 8 gives you 100. Then you always plot for cumulative frequency. It's the last number. And you plot the cumulative frequency. So we've got 30 and 12, 40 and 42, 50 and 70, 60 and 92, and 70 and 100. And they're the corresponding points that we've got plotted right there. Freehand, join all the points together. Question. I'd leave this one. There's not enough time really to cover this topic too much about it. Right, now this is the cosine rule. So what you do, it says calculate the length of BC. So we've marked it with an X. To work out that length, what you basically do, this is all on your formula sheet. You substitute in, it's the cosine rule, it'll be x squared equals, if you write the rule out, it'll be 23 squared, that's one of the lengths, plus the other length squared, minus, put a bracket in on the calculator, 2 times the same one of these two lengths on their own, times the other length, times cos angle of 55, giving you an answer of 20.03. The cosine rule, you'll know what you're substituting. It will be on the front of the formula sheet. If you can see, that answer stems from there, where the answer you get for the whole of this sum is 401.3. You've got to square root this to get the value of x, hence why x is 20.6. I'm going to have to apologise here. There's so many questions to get through. If I give a full explanation, you probably won't get time to revise all the papers. So unfortunately, I'll have to just leave the working out one for a few seconds. Underline the answer for the following questions. Just to let you know, it's the area of a triangle. You should use the formula again on your formula sheet for how you work out the area of a triangle. It's not a right angle triangle. You substitute all values, you rearrange. You can work out that the cos angle then is right there, 38.682. You substitute that into the formula from earlier, the cosine rule, and then you again can square root and you'll get the answer for the perimeter, which is adding up all lengths of that triangle. Upper and lower bounds, you should be used to this now. Each value has been rounded, so the distance has been rounded to the nearest 10 meters. The time is rounded to the nearest tenth of a second. It says work out the upper bound and work out the lower bound further down, so A and B. Basically, because it's a division, when you set it up, it's S equals D divided by T. For the upper bound here, you find the biggest value of the distance, which in this case would be 205, and you divide that by the smallest value, because when you divide by a smaller number, the answer is going to be the biggest number you can possibly get. 26.2 round to the nearest tenth of a second is going to be 26.15. You'll get that answer. For the lower bound, you need the smallest number at the top possible, so 200 to the nearest 10 meters rounds to 195. Divide that by the biggest number possible for the time, which is 26.25, and you get that answer there. Right then, next one. Another very good question. It's all to do with writing down equations of line. You should know that y equals mx plus c. You know that m is the gradient, that's how steep the line is. C is the intercept. If we look at this, you could rearrange this top formula here to work out that if you want to get rid of x, the inverse of adding x is to minus x. So we get 2y equals minus x plus the 4. Then again, the inverse of times by 2 is divide by 2. Y then equals, we divide each one of those by 2. Half of minus x is minus half x, and if you carry on with that, you know that half of 4 is 2, so you get minus a half x plus 4. That's the equation of that line. If you carry on, if you look this way, now it says the equation of the line that passes through 0, 5. Now you know that the gradient is going to be the same because the line's parallel, so it's y equals half x, which was the gradient up here, and if you look, wherever the x is 0, the number for y is where the intercept is, it's plus 5 there. Next question. If we look here, now this is quite a difficult one, but we'll quickly summarise this. If you look here, we've got the point A is 5 minus 2, so x is 5, y is minus 2. The second point is x is 11, y is 1. Find the equation of a line perpendicular to AB passing through the origin. Now your keyword, it's not parallel, it's perpendicular. And I'll tell you what to do with this. Just remember 1 divided by minus m, where m is the gradient from earlier. Y equals mx plus c. So m is the gradient here. So basically, you can do this in two ways. It's the rise for the y values. So from if you look at the y values, to get from minus 2 to 1 is positive 3, hence the 3. To get from the x values, 5 to 11, the rise is 6. So the rise of the y's goes at the top, which is 3. The rise from the x's goes at the bottom, which is 6. You simplify that, you get half. So basically, the gradient is half x. Now what you do then, so y equals a half x, that's the gradient there. Now you substitute, so the gradient here for m would be a half, so minus 1 divided by a half, because that's a gradient, it's a half. Now 1 divided by a half is 2. It's a negative solution there, so it's going to be negative 2, hence the gradient. It says that it runs through the origin, so the c value is going to be 0, so the gradient line is just minus 2x. So just remember, the gradient was a half, you substitute that in for m, we know that it's minus the m value, so minus a half, 1 divided by minus a half gives us minus 2x. Next question here, the region label, write down all the inequalities it satisfies. I'll bring that here and I'll explain why. So we know that the solid line mean equal to, we'll start with this one. So here the line is y, and if you look, the region's above it, so y is going to be bigger than or equal to 4, because the y line is 4, so that's that one there. We'll get rid of that now. So that was that line there. Y is bigger than or equal to 4. That's 1. Second one, we'll do another easy one. Now this line's dotted. It's going this way. And it's going through 4. And the region's to the left of this line. So we know now that x is smaller than 4 because it's that side of the line. And that's the line. X equals 4. It's not equal to because the line's dotted. And the last one is that one there. It falls, the region is smaller than that line, so we know straight away it's smaller than that line. So we know that now the y value is smaller than, the line solid, so equal to, and we just need the equation of this line. Now the intercept is 2, so it's going to be plus 2. So all we do is, when x is 0, something times 0 gives us 2, so the intercept is plus 2, because that's where it crosses the y-axis. Now for each, if you look here, for each time you go across, so if I go across 1, goes up 2, so the gradient line is 2x, so it's 2x plus 2. There we go. Next question. These should be straightforward for you guys, so I'm just going to leave the answers up. Hopefully they're straightforward. Any problems, see me in class. I'll leave these answers up for a few seconds. I wouldn't worry too much about this one. Again, we have not got time to cover this, so don't worry too much about it. This you should be fine with, so I'll leave this at the top. Again, like before, I'll leave the answer showing. You just substitute. You just remember that quadratic equation is on your formula sheet. You find the a, b and c value, you substitute into that formula you got on the formula sheet. You should have got two values for x. X is 2.49, x is 0.08. Stratified sampling, honestly, another nice question for you. So we'll look at this question. 40 people, that's the sample size. Remember, when you see that word stratified, you know what to do. You're looking for, here we go, dark chocolates required. So dark chocolates is 220. You always take what you're looking for, divided by the total. You should have totaled up all these values in the table. It says you get 950 and times by the sample size. Should have got a decimal answer. You're out to the nearest whole number, so you should have got 9. Histogram, I'll leave this up. Just remember, for a histogram, I'll just do this while you're reviewing these answers. Just remember the triangle, frequency at the top, FD, and class width. So frequency is all about the class width. It's the difference between the first number and the second. You basically, for this one, you can divide the frequency by the difference of the class width. So there are the sums there. That should be straightforward for you guys. I wouldn't worry too much about these, but obviously the people in class that think they're ready for an A or A star, I'll leave this answer up for a sec. I would not worry too much about this unless you're aiming for an A star, or if you think you're going to get an A star, good luck to you. The exception of this one. So can we quickly, I'll quickly enlarge this. This should be straightforward for you guys. I'll try and cover that one in class. Hopefully I've put it on your question paper. I've left out the difficult ones, so let's hope for the best.